In 2004, I developed these dry spots on my legs, something similar to a mosquito bite. Whenever I would scratch, the itching sensation intensified. I had to go to a dermatologist for this skin rash appearing on my lower legs. Whatever it was could not be diagnosed by this particular doctor. I was told by her it could be anything from allergies to eczema to psoriasis. These tiny rashes were annoyingly uncomfortable because they generated a burning and itching sensation when anything came in contact with my legs, my clothing, even water hitting against my legs from the shower. She would only give me steroid creams that ultimately did not work. But then this rash eventually spread and started appearing on the bottom of my foot. The discomfort of walking was almost unbearable. After my fourth visit and no improvement from her prescribed treatment, she decided to do a biopsy, requiring her to nip a piece of flesh from the calf portion of my leg to be sent to the lab. A few days later, the results of the biopsy revealed nothing. The doctor didn't know any more than before she did this painful procedure. Meanwhile, through her process of elimination and 3 years later, I still carry the scar on my leg and the memories from the biopsy. The doctor began treating me with injections administered directly into the infected area in my foot with a needle. The experience was so painful, I would literally have anxiety attacks when I had to go to the doctor's office for these injections. Worse, each time I received the shots, the pressure from the medicine being injected into the bottom of my foot could at times make me scream out in agony. The physician's assistant would look at me as if I were overreacting. During one of these visits, while being given a painful injection and crying out in agony, the nurse looked up at me and said, "Oh, come on now. This can't possibly hurt that bad." I wanted to slap her, and at the very least, kick her with my foot. The entire office had an attitude, and I was the patient. It was at that moment that I decided there had to be a better way. I couldn't imagine having to live with this inflammation on my legs and feet. This time, I go to a white doctor. Although he did prescribe a solution containing a steroid and acid that seemed to be working, I will never forget that he did not want to touch my foot. He just leaned down and looked at it. I immediately sensed that he didn't want to touch my foot because I was black. As it turned out, the medicine he prescribed eventually cleared the inflammation, and I thought I was cured. I was never told the cause of this inflammation, only their opinions of what it could be. Unfortunately, when the medicine ran out, you guessed it, the problem came back. So, it was either go back to the very painful shots in the foot from the doctor's office that needed an attitude adjustment, or back to the steroid and acid remedy from the doctor's office who I sincerely felt had issues with touching my black foot. In all fairness to the medical field and doctors of traditional medicine, there are many reasons why we don't trust them. We don't like going to hospitals because some of us think the hospital is where you go to die. There is a fear when we suspect that we are sick. We refuse to get medical care when we detect a medical problem because we worry that the doctor will confirm our fear.